Ho, 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 and welcome to Food and Loathing, the only podcast Santa trusts for recommendations on cookies. And if you're listening, Santa, man, let me tell you this. I've recently become quite enamored with the cookies at Proper Sandwich, as well as the banana pudding cookies at Wild Fig Barbecue. So, Santa Claus, I will be happy to leave a few of those out for you this year, but you better come through with the goodies. I'm thinking Ray-Ban Meta glasses to make it easier for me to take photos of food without pulling out my fucking camera every time, but I digress. Hello, Las Vegas foodies. My name is Al Mancini. My co-host Samantha Gemini Stevens is on the road this week, but have no fear. Our old friend Rob Kachelriess is filling in.
Hey.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for joining us. You may have read his writings at Thrillist in the past. He is now the Hey Las Vegas newsletter editor for Las Vegas CityCast. So welcome, Rob.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And this is so nice right here next to the fireplace.
Yeah, it's cool. We're here at DeMarco's, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I should also say, also joining us in person this week, first time in a long time, the newly repatriated Las Vegan, our indispensable engineer, Mr. Rich Johnson. Rich, how was the drive down from your former home of Chicago?
27, 28 hours, nearly nonstop. A friend of mine came from Seattle. We made it, did, to St. Louis, took a right, went to Utah, took a left, and here we are. And I'll tell you about a little food along the way. But, yeah, I'm back for real.
Yeah, all roads point back to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
but
it's
nothing
the
else around
bottom
us.
of the sink and it just swirls around and it all goes.
It all collects in a tray at the bottom.
Yes,
that's what we call Las Vegas.
This is where everybody wants to end up. Well, this is where they end up whether they want to or not.
Yeah, you don't come to Las Vegas, you end up in Las Vegas.
You can't leave.
Like
is what
Denny's.
happens. So we are, as we mentioned, coming to you this week from the patio at DeMarco's Pizza, which is a recurring home for this podcast of ours. The place is all decked out for Christmas, which we told you about a few weeks ago during our segment on holiday pop-ups. And as I told you during that episode, I had spoken to our friends at DeMarco's about more than just that pop-up. They have a lot of other stuff going on here. I didn't play it all a couple weeks ago when we played that first clip. So since we're here today, it seems like a good time to play the rest of my interview with Albert Scalleat and Lisa Burney. So before we get to anything else, here's that interview. We're going to start with Lisa talking about their wine list, which has some labels you might not expect to find at a pizza place at some pretty good prices. Pretty great prices, really.
We have quite a big extension, a large premium wine list, where the guests would not be able to go to any neighborhood restaurant and touch those wines at these prices. You can come in, you can sit at the wine bar and just have wine or have a pizza. You would not be able to touch any of these wines for less than $200 in any other outlets. And Al is a very generous man, and he wants everybody to be able to taste the best. We have Camus for less than $100, Stag's Leap for less than $100, Belle Clos, which is less than $80, which is my personal favorite. And if you enjoy your wine and you don't want to break the bank, this is the place to go, nowhere else in town.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Even me being a wine neophyte, I know those names, and I know that those are amazing prices. And, a lot of times if you want to get a wine like that, you've got to go to a restaurant where you have to buy a, $100 dinner too, right? You can't just sit around and split a pizza. So that's pretty amazing. What's the reasoning for, putting these kind of crazy wines on a neighborhood pizza place's list?
Well, we want to bring people in. And when they're here, they don't only drink wine, they have dinner. And they get to taste our great food. We figured they'll come back.
Cool. Okay, so some other stuff you guys have going on is you've had trivia night in here for a while, but you've expanded that, right?
Oh, man, did we ever expand trivia. We started out one night a month, and now it's 2 nights a week, and it's packed all the time. And starting January 2nd, we're going to have a 1 night a week of what they call sexy trivia. You got to be, 18 or 21, one or the other to get in. 18 to get in, and it's going to go through the roof. I can't wait to start it.
Okay, that sounds fun. Sounds dirty. I'm in. Sounds like a lot of fun. And sports. Now, we have recorded a few episodes of this podcast here over the past year. We've probably been here 6 or 7 times. But you have a regular sports podcast now that's coming out of here, right?
I'm so excited about this NFL sports podcast. It's run by Jim Feist. He's the narrator. And we've had, here's some of the guests we have on. We try to have 2-3 guests every week. I guess I could start with Brent Munzberger. He's the guy people know most. He's been here once, and he'll be here again. Steve Fezzik won the championship at the what's that casino down there? Anyway, he won a contest twice, the big contest.
This is one of the sports betting contests.
Yeah. And naturally, Bill Krakenberg, one of the best sports guys around. Gil Alexander, my brother Mike Scalleat, the best NFL handicapper in the country. You name it. We have 3, like I said, 2 or 3 new ones. It's every Thursday out on a patio from noon to 1. It's free. And the best part about it is you could ask questions, and they will answer every question. We don't care how long it takes. And we get quite a few guys who ask a lot of good questions. So if you're into the NFL and you like to bet on the NFL, you should be here for this spot.
Okay, sounds awesome. I'm not into the NFL, but I do like to put money on things, so I feel like, why not? When can people hear that podcast if they can't make it out here? Do you know?
Yeah. Like I said, we do it at Thursday from noon to 1. And it's on Dom DeMarco's YouTube page, probably around 6 at night. It's on Dom DeMarco's Instagram, Dom DeMarco's TikTok. You could see it anywhere there.
Okay, sounds great. Last thing before I get out of here, happy hour. You guys have always had a pretty fantastic happy hour. You have anything exciting going on right now that I should be talking to any of you about?
I think we have the best happy hour in town, and so do a lot of people, because between 2 and 6, it's hard to get in here. We recommend you make a reservation. All wines by the glass are half price. All wines by the bottle are half price. All cocktails.
Wait, but not those. Are those premiums half price that we just talked about?
Well, the premiums, we sell them so cheap that, truthfully, if we sold them at half price, we'd lose a lot of money.
Right.
We make a very small markup on the premiums.
Okay. I just want to make sure people don't come in and want that. So for most of the wines, not those premium ones. So a lot of great half price deals, though.
And all beers are $5. We have 6 items on the menu that are anywhere between $16 and $18. We sell for $11. So if you come between 2 and 4, we call that the happiest of happy hours. Every pizza in the place, no matter what pizza you want, is half price.
So yeah, Dom DeMarco's, that's where we are. They got a lot going on, all kinds of podcasting, and we have pizza on the way. I hope you guys are hungry.
I'm definitely down for some of this pizza. Just the way this place smells right now, how can you not have a slice?
Yeah, it smells great. So I ordered the round ones. I usually do like a square de Ferris special, but this time I just ordered a plain old cheese round Brooklyn-style pizza.
Let's bring round pizza back. Everybody wants to be a square.
The round.
Let's get those circles at the table.
Yes, the respect for old New York City slices, man. So we've got a great show for you today. A nice long interview with the gentleman behind the Huntridge District's new dive bar, Jive Turkey. That's at the center of our show. But look, as our regular listeners know, we like to talk about where we've been eating. Rob's our guest this week, so we're going to let him go first. So Rob, man, any good meals?
I had a really unique meal that was excellent the other day. So I was at Tom Colicchio's Craftsteak at the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
And it was part of this special NFR beefsteak dinner that was co-sponsored by Pendleton Whiskey. And so with a beefsteak, so we were I was with a small media group in their private dining room, which is actually quite large. There's like at least 3 tables in there. So it was our little media group, kind of surrounded by cowboys.
Everybody was surrounded by cowboys this time of year.
All in town for the rodeo, all ready to drink whiskey and eat beef and have a lot of meat. So I'm not sure how many people out there know what like a beefsteak dinner is, but it's kind of this thing from like the 1800s, New York. It's kind of a working class thing where people would come in and just like almost like family style meat, like sliced meat, eat it with your hands, wipe the hands on your apron or on your pants.
So it's almost like a churrascaria rodizio setup, but without the South American influence?
Like it almost reminded me of like Basque dining in a way, you know, just lots of meat, a communal format. And
no manners. No table manners.
As many or as little manners as you want. And, you know, a lot of it's kind of like finger food, but this was sort of like the gourmet version of it.
I was going to say, were there different cuts of beef steak?
There was whole roasted foie gras. which I had never seen in front of me.
A whole
like that,
lobe,
like a
yeah.
whole bird kind of.
Yeah, and those livers are big. They get fattened up, man.
Yeah, so there was that. It was so, for lack of a better word, fatty as far as the taste, like the flavorful. But there was like a Wagyu tartare, a beef carpaccio. The main courses were rack of lamb, which was amazing. That might have been the highlight of the meal. Prime rib, like done right. Porchetta, roasted bone marrow with like perfectly toasted bread, sourdough right underneath it. And I skipped on the peel and eat prawns because I am just so I have to take a stand on a few things, and one of them is peel and eat shrimp or prawns. I'm not going to get that dirty.
You don't like your fingers stinking like a fish market for the rest of the night, man?
You've never been to a Maryland crab feast with a pound of hammers and all that stuff?
No. I'm not into that. I'm not into the new, the seafood boils and all that. But everything we tried was delicious. And they actually did give us aprons to put on. And a few of us wore them, a few of us didn't. I did. And we were allowed to use utensils.
Did we get a picture of you in the apron? I'd like to see that.
No, I didn't take any photos.
Man.
Tom Colicchio was there. He was actually like doing some of the cooking out there.
That's awesome.
Neat.
And
I haven't seen him in years. I haven't been in that restaurant in years. The last time I was in that restaurant, I think you and I were both there interviewing Tom Colicchio, and that was probably like 5 years ago,
right.
6 years ago.
And he like looks the same, sounds the same. If you watch Top Chef, it's like that voice just comes out and you recognize it immediately. He was very nice. Didn't do any interviews or anything like that. We were just there mingling among the cowboys. And the highlight, one of the highlights was you got a little kind of package to go, and one of them was Tom's cookbook.
Oh.
And I actually, a couple days later, made the soup that's in his cookbook. It's a Portuguese soup, caldo verde.
Really?
And what I kind of like about this cookbook, at least based on the first recipe I tried, and I don't do a lot of cooking at home, is it's very like user-friendly.
Yeah, that's always the trick with the cookbook. Some of them are impossible, man.
Yeah. I kind of looked this over, and the soup is actually called like Happy Wife, Happy Life soup. So I'm like, all right.
And that's your motto, right?
Right. I got to keep the wife happy. And it was one of those things, you just are getting like fennel bulbs and stuff, things you can actually find at Whole Foods. You take them home. The soup was pretty easy to make. So if you need a last-minute gift out there, hey, go with Tom Colicchio's cookbook. You might actually use it.
Wow.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Rich, what about you? Any meals recently?
Oh, sit back. I've got a few.
Okay. We got a big show today. So.
I got back literally a week from yesterday as we record this, so 8 days ago.
I like that you came back just in time to still get a taste of the F1 traffic and construction.
I've avoided all
Don't
that.
Get me started
I've been
about
reading
that.
about it.
Last
yeah,
night I got
oh,
fucking
God.
caught in all sorts of that shit. I drove around in, you try to spiral in on where you're going. I was going to the link, right? And there's like no way to get at it from any angle.
Right.
You really have to like
Not with F1,
triple
no.
circle around it because they're tearing down those bridges right now.
Reevaluating the back entrances.
Oh, wow.
Look what they're doing. They're opening up the roof here,
Oh, I
man.
thought it was
Suddenly
one of
got
those,
super
I thought it was
bright.
one of
That's
those New
too
Jersey
bright,
drones coming to visit us.
Yeah.
So my first back in Vegas meal was on brand for me, a little mom and pop hole in the wall Chinese to go place called Pearl Walk to Go. It's in the strip mall a couple doors down from Featherblade on Charleston. A little chicken, broccoli, garlic sauce, enough for 3 meals. It was fine.
Cool.
I discovered a place called Mystic Lobster Roll Company. This is in the Village Center Drive in Summerlin, the space they used to have Moana Donuts, a couple doors down from the Albertsons there. Basic lobster roll was $23. I spent another $10 for the mighty, as in more lobster.
And now, what's the setup in this place? Is this casual? Is it sit
Very
down?
casual. No, it's they have about 4 or 5 tables. It looks like the hole-in-the-wall Chinese place, really.
Right, and you're spending $33 on a lobster roll, though.
Yeah, but most people
Hole
get it
in the
to
walls
go.
have gotten fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's an
Along with
expensive hole.
everything else in Las Vegas.
Not really a hole in the wall, not in that neighborhood. It's a very nice hole, and it's mostly for people doing to go, which is what I did. Coleslaw and pickle included. They do a basic Maine with the mayo, a Connecticut version with the warm melted butter, a few other dressing options with cute names, shrimp and crab rolls, Maryland crab cakes, bisque, for all those spoiled, entitled, idiot children of yours, some chicken fingers as well.
The pizza's
None of
arriving.
ours. Oh,
Awesome.
look at
So
this.
If we start talking
Just
with
basic
food
cheese
in our mouth,
round pizza, yeah.
you'll know what we're doing. Thank you very much, sir.
Sunday morning, I did Publicus.
I ask you a question while
yeah.
you're talking about lobster rolls. Have
Yeah.
you been to that new place on Blue Diamond that's known for the $9.99 lobster roll?
No, I have not, but I will certainly
Because I've done
get there.
huge. We've already covered them.
Yeah.
We've interviewed them
Oh,
here.
I think I
but
did.
would love to hear
many
your
months
opinion.
ago. Yeah, and it was fine. It
And
was
they're all about the
acceptable.
price. Like, give you the same quality, but
Yeah,
keep
but
it
they-
under $10.
and cut back on
Yeah.
everything
Oh, and
else.
their
Yeah.
deal was they went vertical, and they own the boats
Yeah.
pretty much in Maine.
Yeah.
And all that, yeah. What did I do? Sunday night, I actually did a little cooking myself, something I'd learned of in Chicago. Spaghetti a la assassin.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's not in Tom Colicchio's cookbook.
No,
I
no.
don't think.
Killer spaghetti is known. And it's basically taking dried spaghetti and cooking it like you would risotto. You put the dry spaghetti in the oil, fry it up a bit, a little garlic, some pepper flakes, and then start adding this combination of tomato puree and water.
Okay.
And
sounds
as it
interesting.
goes, it goes. And that's really it. Throw a little cheese on top when you're done, serve immediately. It eventually softens up just like you would with rice in a risotto.
Okay.
And yeah, it was pretty
So it's all
cool.
about the texture there.
Yeah, the problem was, well, with this only the second or third time I've done it, and you find one strand that is perfect, but then there are a few other strands that are still rock hard. So technique is a big part of
It
that.
makes
but
it
that's good.
artisanal that way.
Yeah, but it's vegan. It's deep and rich because you're kind of burning. You throw a little sokrat, I forget the darn name.
And, and you're deep and rich.
Yeah, well, Rich is always my name, not my financial condition.
And you're a very deep person.
Yeah. Raiders game. Thank you, Al, for the secondhand tickets, and thank you, Leslie from Cox Media, for row 13 on the 40-yard line.
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
good seats, man,
For
right?
one of the worst games ever in the history of the National Football
All
League.
the
But
money I spent
yeah.
advertising on Cox, I'm glad somebody got some good seats. out of that.
Yeah. I just had a plain old hot dog at the game because earlier I did a little adventure because I went down to the strip early, and I mostly just hung around the triumvirate of Mandalay, Luxor, Excalibur, and I parked at the Excalibur. You get the old Pearl card deal
Oh, yes.
instead of the $40 or whatever for game day parking.
It's worth having that card for that alone.
Yes, it is. And so I decided to have a little adventure and went to the Excalibur buffet.
Oh, my God.
$33.
So we would say the Excalibur buffet, probably one of the more cost-conscious buffets in Las Vegas.
Definitely.
Because buffets can get ridiculously pricey in this fucking town.
It reminded me a lot of. It wasn't as. No, it was fine. Salad's fine. Sushi was buffet sushi. The rice gets a little hard.
Exactly
sitting
what
there.
you'd expect, right?
But the roast beef was
Yeah.
great. And
Okay.
here's a pro tip on roast beef: don't pretend you're getting prime rib and get an 1.5-inch thick piece. Get like 2 or 3 or 4 millimeter pieces, same amount of beef, but then you can cut it with a table knife because that's all you have to cut it with.
Butter knife, yeah.
The butter knife.
I feel like when you go to places like Excalibur, some of the lower, some of the more bargain-conscious resorts that still have buffets, you're getting what buffets used to be like in the days when buffets ruled Las Vegas,
And
before they became attractions, right?
And there is
yeah.
demand for that. People are still looking for that. Regardless of what this world will tell you about food halls in Las Vegas, there's still an audience there for buffets.
And it was pretty full
Yeah.
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and a lot of people with their Atlanta Falcons gear on, as usual.
Probably more than Raiders.
Half the venue at the stadium was filled with Falcons fans, including the ones around me.
People
here
that
in
want to
nice
see
section.
a win.
They want to have a nice weekend in Vegas and see their team, and that seems to be the secret of the financial success of putting people in that stadium when you have a hideous team.
Definitely. Come to Vegas to watch the Raiders lose. There's a deal in that.
Watch your
Watch
team
your
beat
team
the
win.
Raiders.
Your team win. Let me tell you about a couple things on the trip. The drive from Chicago to Las Vegas started with my friend from Seattle, marathon driving partner, Bruce Murdoch. I mention his name because if you're a Chet Buchanan fan,
Yes.
you have to thank Bruce Murdoch for Chet Buchanan. Murdoch was 30 years in Seattle, and Chet grew up listening to him. It's his idol. So
And Chet
There you
is very timely this time of year.
Yeah.
He just
Absolutely.
came down.
We did not
from
get a
his-
chance to see Chet because he was up on the roof.
Yeah,
when
he
got
just
here.
came down from his billboard. He had an entire parking lot filled with bikes. I know he raised $700,000. Just this is Chet Buchanan's a Vegas institution.
Yeah.
So just since his name came up, word up, brother. You always raise so much money for the kids in this town.
Yes.
God bless you.
The
man.
guy's a saint. He does good work every year.
Yep.
And he doesn't shower for a really long time.
But he's up in the building, so he's got the wind going.
He's got an excuse.
So Bruce, I took Bruce to this place I've been telling everybody about on this podcast for 9 months, Gene and Giorgetti, Chicago's oldest steakhouse. We did not have steak, though. We had the special edition of a G&G signature dish called Chicken a la Joe, which was invented like 30, 40 years ago by one of the waiters. One of these places with waiters in their 60s and 70s who've been doing it their whole life. The kind of really cool place. There's some people in Vegas like that, career waiter or servers.
No, lots in
Lots
Vegas.
and lots,
More
yeah.
than you find in other cities, career
Yeah.
servers, because this is a hospitality town. You can
Yeah.
make good money being a server.
And
here.
you got the union.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chicken Joe is roast chicken with a simple spice combination of salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, oregano, roasted with the chicken, whole pepperoncinis, strips of yellow, red, and orange bell pepper slices. The bird and the peppers give up their moisture to form this really nice sauce with the size things. G&G does it quickly with chicken breasts or 45-minute wait with chicken on the bone, which of course is the only way to do it.
I feel like we've heard so much about Gene and Giorgetti's from you on this
Yeah.
show that you have to go and meet with some VPs of food and beverage at some local casinos,
say,
broker the deal
Yeah.
to bring a fucking Gene and Giorgetti's to Vegas, because for all the promotion we've given them, they should be
That's
taking
right.
advantage
Yeah.
of this
Yes,
shit, man.
right. The one kicker on the Chicken Joe with all that pepper in the chicken is cut up slices of hot Italian sausage.
Nice.
A little shrimp and lemon butter to start, a garbage salad, another one of their signature things. And off we were off the next day to accommodate my cat, the notorious BGC. Stands for Big Gray Cat.
Oh,
Yes, right. So we took the thing, took to I-45, 55 to St. Louis, and then 70 all the way to central Utah, and then 15 all the way through. Sunday night, we found ourselves around Kansas City, right about the time the Chiefs were kicking off against the Chargers. I said, well, we're in KC, we got to have some barbecue.
No, I thought you were going to say might as well go to the Chiefs game. I was like, wow, man, you roll, brother.
Not quite. But I was looking at one neighborhood joint, and we got there, and it was like 5 minutes from closing. So just on the app, I don't think it was even Yelp. It was like Google Maps. Where's the nearest barbecue place? And talk about prophetic. We found RJ's Barbecue.
Rich Johnson found RJ's Barbecue.
Bob is the name of my late black
your
cat,
old-
too.
I was going to say that sounds like a Chicago accent.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Barbecue. No, it's B-O-B-A-Q. Neighborhood joint, really literally in a neighborhood. Not even a strip mall, just a standalone place on a corner with houses all around it. Great original sauce. I had ribs and pulled pork. I actually bought a couple bottles of the sauce and had a wonderful time. Just talk about the absolute luck of the draw to find this place about 3 miles off I-70 on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and it was just fantastic. An old, modest place. Everybody in Chiefs gear, Chiefs on every screen, because it had just started.
And that's
So
the
that
fun
was
part
kinda
about
cool.
road trips is running into
Yeah.
these unexpected places that maybe pop up
Yeah.
on a Google map or you just spot around the corner.
Yeah, and the last place I had done was something I had touted to my friend Bruce for a long time, Culver's, which is a big Midwest thing, but we found the last Culver's before Vegas in St. George, Utah on Monday afternoon.
Which ain't that
At lunch.
far.
No, it was,
From us?
we're on the short final to Vegas after we get to St. George, and so we did that. Great fresh meat burger, fresh lettuce, tomato, onions, all between the buns. So we have been culvered up, and that's my trip here.
So anybody taking the trip from Chicago to Vegas or the other way
That's
around,
right.
we've
And
got
we're-
you covered for food.
And we're out of time now.
Yeah,
Thanks
now
for
we're
joining
out
us.
of time, but you all have a nice trip. Let's talk. Okay, I'm going to go quick through this one. Although this first one, man, I don't like to say negative things about places or people or anything, so this is where I tiptoe through the tulips, okay? No, let's go back to my birthday, December 5th, and to celebrate, I had a lot of events to attend. First up was Jason Aldean's new bar, number 63 City Center, which is in the same building as Ocean Prime, between the Crystal Shops and the Cosmopolitan. And let me just say first, man, if you are a country western fan, this was the first day of the rodeo. People were lined up. Great. 2 stages, 2 different floors, outdoor patio. It's a beautiful setup. If you like country western music, if you like Jason Aldean, it's right on the Strip. Beautiful location. You're going to have a fucking blast. They put out a big spread for us. I did not stick around to eat much, and I'll get into why. Because here's the thing. I try not to let the politics of anybody get involved with what I do on the show. Even scandals, I try not to really let them dig deep into the show because I don't have time to investigate whether the person got a bum rap or whatever. So when I got invited to Jason Aldean, I had forgotten who he was. I was like, okay, he's a fucking country star, right? I like country. I don't like country music.
And some
but
of the names run together. Sometimes.
Yeah, they all run
together. I mix them up too, every now and then.
And I've met a lot of country stars that I really like, really enjoy hanging out with. I love their places. Some really big ones, but it doesn't matter. So I didn't know who Jason Aldean was, and I didn't go. And I went. If I had remembered all the times I had seen him in controversies on TMZ and what those controversies were about, I may have thought twice, but I probably still would have gone, right? Because it's journalism. You cover the story that you're
research.
on.
It's a big
research.
Night. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when I got there and what triggered the fact that I knew where I was, and again, I'm not going to bring his video into it. I'm not going to bring any of the things he may have yelled out a window once into it. That's all. You can research that on your own. But I saw the name of his big hit, right? The one, it was very controversial for its video, but that's not my problem with it.
Try that in a small town.
Try that in a small town was written up on the big neon signs, and I went, oh, it's that motherfucker, right? This is what I said in my head. Because to me, despite all the other controversies that go with this guy, I am of an age when you walked around New York City being yourself and all you saw was tourists who said, try that in a small town. Try that. Try that haircut in a small town. Try holding hands with your boyfriend, sir, in a small town. That was the way. And everyone I know who lived in a city was in a city because of the fact that they couldn't try the shit they wanted to do in their small town, right? So I take that song as a personal fucking affront. I have nothing against small town America, but so the minute I saw that, I was like, you know what? No, Mr. Aldean, I do not want to try any of this in a small town, but welcome to Las Vegas. Try your shit in our big city. Please, please, sir. Have a great time. I hope your fans have a good time. And I didn't talk to him on the red carpet. I did get a little clip of him talking about bringing this to Las Vegas. It's his 4th place. And again, I do wish him well, despite the fact I don't think he wants me in his hometown. And here he is talking about what it takes to bring Jason Aldean's to the big city in the Las Vegas Strip.
Now, obviously, Vegas, when you do anything here, you got to do it bigger and better, and so we sit, the bar sits right essentially on the 50-yard line of the Las Vegas Strip, which is great. I don't know, everything from the like I said, the wallpaper to the signage to everything, it's just you gotta kind of ramp it up a little bit in Vegas.
Well, also kind of in the bigger picture here, we're starting to get a lot of crossover between Nashville and Las Vegas, and we've kind of talked about this with the CityCast team a little bit. The phrase Nash Vegas has started to come to light. So now, there's some elements of Vegas that are showing up in downtown Nashville, and now we're getting these country bars that are showing up in Vegas. We've got Jason Aldean, we've got Blake Shelton's place, we've got a few more others
and I
coming
love
along,
Nashville, by the way, man. I love everything. I've only been once, but I've had the greatest fucking time. I love the country bars in Nashville. I love to go down to Broadway. I love to do all that shit, right? But nobody ever told me to try that in a small town when I was in Nashville, which isn't a small town. It's a very metropolitan city.
Yeah, but I will say this. The Cowboys spend money when they come to Vegas. Because past week or two, when I've been roaming through some of these casinos, they're packed, they're spending. They're at every restaurant, no matter what it is. It can be a sushi restaurant. You'll see cowboy hats up and down.
I've loved NFR since I moved to this town. It was away for a few years, and I came back. I'm happy it's here. They're one of those crowds that we know tips well. We know that they spend well. So God bless all you guys. But okay.
I assume every one of them owns their own construction company.
Yeah.
Well, if you want that, go to the World of Concrete convention next month. Then you'll see everybody who owns their own construction company. Okay, so that same day, I had 2 other things. Rob, did you go see Dominique Ansel? Because I missed that because I had a pet crisis.
So I know Dominique Ansel did, I think, 2 events.
Yeah, he
2 mornings in a row.
Right.
So I was at one of them. I know some other journalists were at the other one. The one I went was kind of a crepe demonstration, interactive experience where you got to make your own crepe. And you know what? I'll give him credit because, obviously he's in a tourist market. He's working with Caesars Entertainment and doing his thing. But I feel like this guy's like the real deal. I mean, I know the cronut's kind of a gimmick, but this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to make a croissant the right way.
I went to a croissant demo with that guy months ago,
Yeah.
and it was unreal. I never had any respect for croissants until I saw him make fucking croissants.
Well, I didn't think that much about crepes either, but you kind of watch him making it on this flat top, and there's kind of an art to it.
Yeah.
Because I tried doing it, and I messed mine up. Like, the assistant came in, and he was just like, oh, let me finish this for you.
Let me do that. You're
So I
just a
tried like this.
disaster.
I had a savory one, a buckwheat crepe with brie cheese, some of the rotisserie chicken with some herbs mixed in, and they're doing their own rotisserie chicken there in-house. They're making their own ice cream in-house with
Lord.
these
Damn.
high-tech machines that kind of jiggle the ice cream as it's being made, or is it sitting there? And then like a
And
nice.
this, by the way,
yeah.
is at Paris, Las Vegas.
Yes.
Dominique Ansel Marche is the name of the new restaurant, and it's the crepe-focused restaurant of his, right?
Yes, it's sort of like, you associate the Caesar's Palace one with the pastries and a few other things, but this one seems like they're mixing a little more savory in. So you can come there, not just lunch, but also dinner, and maybe you're getting some chicken and some paninis, that kind of thing. And it's right next door to Martha Stewart's place as well. So that's
Cool.
You know exactly where it is.
Well, I'm glad you
Yeah.
made it in there because I missed it. I had a whole thing, but I apologize to everybody over there. Also, that night, we went over to Pink by Vanderpump. I think I saw it. Pinkies by
Yeah.
Vanderpump, excuse me. Also in, no, that one's in the Flamingo. Brand new, Lisa Vanderpump's
Right.
third place. And what can I say, man? She knows how to decorate a place, and the
Yes.
food's always pretty decent when I've been in her restaurants. I don't watch that fucking TV show, but I have always been pleasantly surprised by every Lisa Vanderpump restaurant I've walked into, and this one's gorgeous. So if you're a fan of the show, definitely you're going to love it.
Yeah, it's definitely, she knows how to nail everything as far as a menu that her audience wants, and also just the design of all these restaurants. And it sounds like there's more to come in Vegas. There was nothing officially said, but each one kind of has its own identity. And I was able to go back the next day for brunch. And something we were commenting on is that, the Flamingo has all this history. It's one of the oldest hotels in Vegas. I know it's been rebuilt and all that, but it just kind of feels like any other hotel. You don't really feel the history. It's almost like a generic hotel in
Yeah,
a lot of ways.
yeah.
But this new restaurant, Pinkies, has almost a retro feel to it. It's very timeless. It's right there on the strip with glass windows that look right out to it. And it kind of almost brings some of that history feeling back to the property. And I wouldn't be surprised if some tourists came and walked through this restaurant and just assumed it was part of the Flamingo for decades.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
it really
One
does
of the
match
places
it.
where Bugsy used to hang out,
Yeah.
right?
And Bugsy and Mayer's kind of does the same thing, where you have these restaurants that have like a throwback feel
Yeah.
that kind of matches the
Yeah,
history
that's
of the
their
property.
steakhouse there at the Flamingo. Okay, I know we're running short on time, and I've got some interview cuts I got to play. So real quick, China Mama, they're now in Palace Station. I went to their big bash, the lion dance. They invited us all in for food. It was friends and family, so there were a few hiccups, but the food's always fantastic
Yes.
at China Mama. This is their fourth location. While I was there, I had the chance to chat with Lee Torres, the vice president and general manager of Palace Station, and my first question for him was why they decided this popular off-strip chain would work in a casino.
I think it was really because much of the way they operate their business aligns with how we want to operate our business. We want to provide great experiences to our guests. We want to give them good, authentic meals. I think that's one of the areas for Palace Station is that we wanted to have that true, authentic, traditional Chinese cuisine. But then we wanted to make sure it was the right partner. And I think as we focus so much on our local business, the fact that they're already so well known, not just for the quality of their food, but the quality of their experience, we felt they would be a perfect match for us. And, we're super excited about what they bring to the property.
Station Casinos always has great restaurant programs. I mean, any resort that I look at, they've got for where they are, a fantastic restaurant program. Talk about everything because you've done some revamps here, you've done some reboots. Talk about how you're situated here with your restaurant program at Palace.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what we're looking to do is kind of transform the dining options here. And so you'll see, obviously we brought in Lindo Michoacan earlier, so a local staple on the Mexican cuisine side. And now we bring in China Mama. We already have our own famous oyster bar. What we're trying to do is bring a lot of local favorites here to Palace Station. So you come here for gaming and food and beverage, we're going to give you as many great options that you're already looking for, but you can do it all in one spot.
You're also, I mean, you're a locals casino because you're a stations casino, but you're very close to the Strip, and I know that this oyster bar is a lot of people's first stop when they get off a plane. Whatever time it is, they get online for it. How do you see the balance between tourists and locals here? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think our location obviously puts us a little bit closer. We get a lot of what we call second stop, right? So people come in, they may stay elsewhere on the Strip, but they know the quality of experiences we have here, like the oyster bar, and now with China Mama, it just opens them up to say, hey, we should go visit that as well. So, we are a locals casino, of course, but we want to cater to out-of-town business as well, because it's all about just great experiences, and we think no matter what you're looking for, you can do that here.
I have to ask you about the oyster bar. Station has great oyster bars in so many of its resorts. I like them all. I enjoy eating at all of them. But eating at the one at Palace Station, that is like the pilgrimage that people to make. What makes this one special compared to the others?
I think it's the people. It's the tradition that was started here, and they've just held true to recipes and the way they approach the guests. I think it's all about combine awesome food, awesome ingredients with awesome people, and I think that's what differentiates us. I think all the stations, oyster bars are great, but I'm biased to this one because of the people that work there.
Okay, I also spent some time at Sahara. Sue has a new job. Her company's involved with the Magic Mike show, so we went to check it out, and I got to see firsthand what it's like to attend 50 bachelorette parties at the same time. And if that is your scene, you're going to have a good time at Magic Mike, absolutely.
Mary went with some friends a couple of weeks ago. She loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a well-done show. I mean, I'm not really up for the bachelorette party scene myself. I don't have a lot of bachelorette friends that I need to take out, but hey, God bless them. They're great. But while I was there, I went to Balla Italian Soul.
Great
I feel
spot,
like this is. I just had a discussion with one of our mutual friends last night about this place, and he didn't like it because it doesn't have like the lasagnas and the chicken parms, and that's exactly why I love Balla Italian Soul.
Right.
To me, it's very similar to like the Vetri restaurant, but on a more affordable, approachable price tag, right? And unusual dishes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how Italian restaurants now almost have to be either or. Either you're that California fresh farm to table Italian, or you're the old school red sauce Italian. Maybe we need some places that kind of mix it up a little bit more.
But I feel like there are a few. There's the Amalfi Coast level Italian too. That, right. That somebody does that. Some people.
You mean like
do
real
that.
Italian, not just this American Italian.
But
I'm
then there's
talking about.
Italian, and I believe that Sean McLean at Balla and Mark Vetri, and also Gina Marinelli, who has toured, Italy extensively. Although she does more of that coastal Italian. But I think all three of those places have, and I have not been to Italy, so I don't know. I also know, by the way, give credit where credit is due. The Ferraro family goes to Italy a lot, brings back a lot of really, really great dishes. They've moved away from that red sauce heavy thing in recent years. And also Gaetano's, they still do a lot of that red sauce heavy stuff, but they travel to Italy all the time.
They do, yes.
And get great stuff. Okay, next up, Sunday lunch at Carmelitas, Martiero with Eric Gladstone. I'll just give you the short version of this, but I like this place a lot. I'm going to add it to Neon Feast. It's about a mile east of the Huntridge on Charleston. It is Chef Letitia Mitchell of Letty's and Letitia's. This is her really kind of in the hood, right? Everywhere else, I feel like she's cooking Mexican food for honkies out in the burbs. And here, I feel like she really is going after the Mexican expatriates as well as us locals and honkies. And it's got a big sort of cafeteria-style atmosphere. It's not the most beautiful of all restaurants, but the food, I mean, it's fine. It's nice enough, you know what I mean? But it's not for the decor. You go for the food. It's really legit. The tacos were solid. Quesabirria tacos, really good. Relleno del Mar with shrimp was really solid as well. But I'll tell you, the Pulpo Zarandeado, and this was a big fucking whole octopus that came out in one of those mulahetes. There's stone bowls, right? And the octopus is reaching over the edge, and he's in there with a bunch of chorizos in there, and there's potatoes in there, and there's little corn on the cob slices in there, so it's sort of like a crab boil type of deal, and just fucking great. Go for that all alone. Great dish. Oh man, and a couple things. You know what? I'm going to talk to you. I'll tell you next week about Adam Sobel's takeover of Amari. I'll play you those cuts next week because we are just running out of time right now. We have a lot more to get to.
Coming up in the news, Lunar New Year at Wynn. Al judges another cocktail contest. Learn to pour a perfect pint during your next party at Re-Raw. But first, Al visits Jive Turkey in the Huntridge district to speak to owners Sam Pulliam and Adam O'Donnell. This is Food and Loathing.
night, so I am hanging out, sitting in Jive Turkey. My first time in this place. I've been wanting to come down for a while, and I am joined by the owners, Sam Pulliam and Adam O'Donnell. Adam O'Donnell, right? I got your name right, sir? All right. I love it when I get people's names right. How are you guys doing today?
Really good. Solid.
Doing amazing.
Guys, before we get into everything that's happening here at Jive Turkey, I want to talk about your background, because that's what interested me in this bar. Look, a cool dive bar opens in a cool neighborhood. That is cool. But when it opens with people that have the kind of experience that you guys have, that's what told me this was going to be something kind of special. So could you tell people what you've done in the past in Vegas?
Yeah, so I moved to Vegas about 10 years ago. I actually got hired as a manager on Fremont Street at the D off Craigslist. So my first start was kind of learning the ins and outs of casino beverage and everything at the D and Golden Gate Casino. And then once the Circa project started, I moved over to beverage director at Circa, opened all the bars in that casino, and that's where I met Adam. I actually hired Adam as a bartender for me at Legacy Club. And so, yeah, from there, he and I just kind of got to talking and hit it off and decided we wanted to open our own thing.
So you worked at Legacy Club, Adam. Any other places we may have seen you behind the stick?
I've been in Las Vegas my whole life, and I've been in the food and beverage industry, I think, for 26 years. Started out at the Hard Rock Hotel. I've been a few places on the Strip. I ran the bar at Herbs and Rye for a little bit. I was part of a beverage team at Station Casinos. Worked at Nomad, Park MGM, and
which is no slouch of a bar program over at Nomad by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's well, and I don't think it exists anymore. But yeah, what it is they built was pretty fantastic and exacting. Learned a lot there. That was a great experience. Even after I had been in, I learned a lot even after I'd been in this business for, I think, however long. Sold booze for a very short stint. And, yeah, I got hired on at Legacy Club. And that's where I met Sam. And during the interview process, Sam said to me, "Have you ever thought about opening a bar?" And I said, yeah, but as far as I had gotten was thinking about it. And that was the end of the conversation during the interview. And over the next several months, Sam would kind of pop up to Legacy Club, and we kind of revisited that topic and kind of grew it from there into what we have now.
Yeah, I'm also a huge fan of Legacy Club too, man. One of the best views in the city up there. I absolutely love it. Atop Circa. So that is these places you're talking about, Nomad, Circa, Legacy Club, they are light years from where we're sitting right now. First, is it okay if I call Jive Turkey a dive bar? Does that bother anybody?
I think that all depends on what a dive bar means to you.
And to me, a dive bar is a compliment, by the way.
Yeah. We've been kind of calling ourselves a 5-star dive bar. Definitely a place where, you feel comfortable ordering a beer and a shot, but also we just want to make all of our drinks the right way. So if you want a proper cocktail, we can do that for you. We kind of try to stay in the wheelhouse as far as, pricing goes, and how dive bars price, but also providing great food, I think, was super important to us. We have basically a scratch kitchen where, we're doing typical bar food, but also the right way.
Yeah, I think when I talk about dive bars, first of all, it's an attitude. They're places you go to drink. Frequently, you go to drink a lot, get drunk. You're not there necessarily for the craftsmanship of the cocktail, but it's very nice if people do it well while you're there. But the reason I would call this place a dive bar, and I'm walking around, and I'm sure people can even hear a bit of this echo on this, and Rich, sorry about that. But anyway, this is just what I think of. You got the paneled walls. You've got the long bar. You've got another room that's really long. You've got an electronic dart game in here. You have a pool table. It is dark and dingy. It's got the neon beer signs and all of that shit. I mean, and then you've got all the punk rock band stickers in the back, right? Like that to me is dive bar, right? So as far as I'm concerned, this is a gorgeous dive bar.
We never set out to have like a contrived space. I think it was we put something together that we liked, and there wasn't going to be any gold tassels anywhere. There wasn't going to be any fancy things at all or any fancy elements. But We like neon signs. We like beer signs. We have a PBR beer neon by the bar, and we don't carry PBR. We just like the signs. So nothing. We never set out to be a certain thing. We just set out to build something that we both thought is a place we want to hang out, and this is kind of what it turned into.
And I should also say about the setup here, we're in one of two main rooms you have. They're both very long. They remind me of sort of railroad buildings in New York City or someplace like that. But you have an outdoor courtyard in between, which is really unique. Do people hang out there, or is that just to go from one side to the other?
Yeah, so when you walk in, this actually used to be Mahoney's drum shop back in the 90s. So we are kind of occupying two spaces, but we have this breezeway patio in the middle and big sliding doors on either side, so people do hang out. You know, we can open it up when the weather's nice. It's honestly been pretty nice all year since we've opened. But yeah, on one side, you know, we have a pool table and darts like you were saying, and then we also can slide our pool table over, bring in a band, throw a big party on this side, and kind of have the same dive bar vibe going on the other side. So I think, you know, it connects two unique spaces in a way that really makes sense.
Do you do live music in here a lot?
Yeah, so we've had a couple bands so far, a DJ here and there. We're really trying to ramp up the live music scene over here and bring in some good local bands.
Okay, so you guys set out to design the bar where you would feel comfortable. How about the neighborhood, right? Because I love that you put this into the Huntridge neighborhood, and for those who have not been down to the Huntridge neighborhood recently, I would encourage them to go there. There are some great restaurants that have opened up here over the last couple of years, and it just, as they're renovating that Huntridge Theater over there, this neighborhood, I've been saying on this podcast for months, has the feel of a place that's just about to take off, and I like places just before they take off. I'm not one of these people that gets mad that they do take off and gets mad when the tourists come in and gets mad when everybody makes money. I'm happy when that happens, right? But I like the feel of a neighborhood just before the public catches on to it. And that's the feeling that I get in the Huntridge area. What is it that drew you guys to this neighborhood?
I'm from this neighborhood. I've been in Vegas, since I was 9 months old. And my parents live in the same house that they've owned since '84. I went to Las Vegas High School before it was LVA. When this was Mahoney's drum shop, my mom bought me a guitar here. And I went to shows at the Huntridge. And long before, I was getting my hair cut in a barber shop across the street long before anything happened. So this is, nothing drew me to this. It was already here. It was already essentially my neighborhood. So there was nothing about this that I thought was going to take off. There was nothing about this that I thought is going to, one day be something. This is where I felt like we belonged, like I belonged, like I felt comfortable here.
I feel a creative energy, though, in the neighborhood. I mean, am I just kind of hallucinating this, or do you see what I'm talking about? A certain electricity, a certain people maybe that can get in on inexpensive rents because the neighborhood hasn't totally blown up yet, and that tends to draw the creatives, And I look at Winnie and Ethel's across the street. I look at Yukon Pizza across the street. Just makes me, feel like there's a lot going on down here.
Yeah, totally agree, and I feel like Jay Dapper, who's kind of invested into developing this intersection around us, he's really spent a lot of time trying to curate the owner-operators that would kind of best suit that vision like you're talking about for this area, where it's kind of artsy, kind of funky, kind of old school, and then eventually with the Huntridge Theater opening up, I think all of these places will kind of tie in and make it not quite like the Arts District, but just a little bit more unique, a little bit more neighborhoody. So yeah, we're happy to be a part of it.
We're getting to the point now, and especially where you guys came from, Legacy Club, for example, but we're getting to the point now where if you go into a big casino, a cocktail is going to cost you $25. You've just got to assume that that's what you're paying for a cocktail. That's another appeal of what I call a dive bar, is you can afford to get drunk if you want to. You don't have to go in half drunk and, just top it off with the pricey shit. So what is your price point here?
Well, we do a happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 7, and it's you get a $4 beer on tap. We have $5 hot dogs. We do have some things, prices are chopped to get people to come down here. One, and two, to experiences that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. But price point generally, we have a beer on tap at $6, a hot dog that's $9. You can for $20 have a few shots and a beer and something to eat. So we still have bills to pay, and trying to make. I don't know. I think we were looking at having enough people come in here to enjoy enough, happy hour hot dogs or cheap beers that it would kind of make sense for us to charge less. If you want a cocktail, the ones we have on our menu are $14, and we debated on the pricing for that. I think everything in this whole entire building that we've done, all the equipment, all the decor, everything that we've done, Sam and I debated about over and over and over again. The amount of conversations we had, and they're still ongoing, and they all revolve around what makes sense for us, what makes sense for the neighborhood, what makes sense for us to serve what we serve at whatever price point that we feel comfortable with. And so we arrive at how we do things because of that.
And I guess an equal question that reveals as much about a bar's personality and its clientele as the price point would be, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot, what's your well whiskey here, and then what's your premium whiskey here? Because, this is a town where some people could be selling Pabst Blue Ribbon at the bar for, a couple bucks, and then also have Louis Trey up on the bar, right? So, I'm curious, where's your spread there?
Yeah, so, Old Overholt is a great rye. That's in our well. Evan Williams, I think, is a solid bourbon. That's in our well. We can get a $5 shot of Ice Cold Thunder Bitch. That's kind of been one of our leaders. And then, on the higher end of the spectrum, we have Noah's Mill on the back bar. We have Fuente Seca Cosecha Tequila. That's a nice higher end expression. We try to have something for everyone, but if you're looking for a solid, cheap well, that's kind of where we feel like we're really hitting it.
Cool. Okay, so, I'm always concerned about food. I eat a lot more than I drink these days. So, not a lot of bars do a scratch kitchen. Not a lot of bars feel that they have to put their money, especially in Las Vegas. It's like put a fryer in the back, have somebody come in here. So tell me about your food program and how it came together, who your chef may be, unless it's just, you guys put the recipes together. How does that work?
So the recipes were all kind of a collaboration between Adam, myself, and our chef, Bruce Flowers. But we talked about the items we wanted to carry and the mix of items we wanted to carry. A great burger was very important to us, so we kind of leaned into this onion smash burger concept. And I know a lot of people are doing smash burgers, but I don't think there's one quite like ours, where you get a little bit of raw onion flavor, a little bit of caramelized onion flavor. Growing up in Chicago dog was super important to me, and we kind of changed the game as far as Chicago dogs go. So we take all of the Chicago dog toppings, chop them up into a relish that we're calling super condiment. So you get a little bit of everything in each bite. And then probably one of the coolest things we have on the menu is our short rib sando. And we're braising short ribs for 4 to 5 hours with a ton of aromatics. They become like super melt in your mouth, but still have some texture. That goes on a sandwich with some local sourdough, arugula. We take all of the drippings and the renderings from the short rib and make that into a gravy that kind of goes back into the sandwich. So this thing is a flavor bomb, delicious. And then also chicky nuggies. We are brining our chicken nuggets in buttermilk and a blend of spices overnight. They get super tender, and then they're all hand breaded and fried to order. So food is really solid. If you haven't had it, come check it out.
Absolutely. I noticed that you do have gaming in there. So is gaming a big part of this? And does that mean you're open 24 hours? Because there's a time when that used to mean that, but I'm not sure if it still does.
We have gaming. It's 5 machines. I think for us, like putting together the bar, it was what would be the most attractive to the most people, like casting a wide net. If you want to play pool, we got a table. Darts, we got that. Restrooms, we got those too. And along with fancy cocktails or cheap beer, solid food, the gaming kind of played into that as well. I know that sometimes I want to gamble, but I also know that a lot of the bars that have 15 machines, the whole bar top is now just the gaming, and sometimes I want to take up some space in the bar top. So for us, having 5 machines made sense to, if you have the itch, we got you. If you want a good cocktail, we got you there. So it was a matter of just having a little bit of something for whoever wanted to come in. And if you do want to gamble, you feel comfortable. And if you do want something to eat, we got you there as well. It was, and honestly, too, having a bar in Las Vegas without gaming, they do exist, and I do like them, but it does seem like Las Vegas to have some gaming in your bar as well. So that made sense for us.
And are you open around the clock, or do you guys have opening and closing hours and a last call?
Monday through Sunday, every day of the week, we are open 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. I don't know. I never knew that there was like a mandate that you had to be 24 hours if you had gaming.
It may be if you have the full 15 machines or something like that. I've never owned a bar, so I'm not 100% sure.
I'm also not sure, but we're here until 3 a.m. I think it was an important thing for us when we first opened, just to be open every day of the week from 3 to 3, not do a slow ramp up, and to just say we're here and we're a part of the neighborhood. This is what we're doing. After COVID, there were a lot of places that stopped being 24 hours, that stopped doing late night food or drink or anything. And if you've been in the service industry, a waiter, a busser, a bartender, a manager, anything, and you're out at midnight, 1 a.m., where do you go for your end of the night? And that was kind of, being open until 3 a.m. made sense for us. And I know in this neighborhood, there were some people that said maybe you don't want to do that, but it makes sense for us and what we want to do, what we want to offer to everybody.
And who is the crowd in here? Is it an industry crowd because of all your history in the industry? Is it people that live in the neighborhood? I know by the way, we're on the corner of Maryland Parkway and Charleston, right? So this is just dead center across from the Huntridge Theater. And I know if you go further south that way, I know so many people that were buying up houses there 10 years ago, right? That is the neighborhood, cool place to live. And they always complained that there was nothing going on where they lived. So are you getting the people from the neighborhood, or are you getting industry people that come in after work, or is it a nice little mix?
Definitely a mix. People are, coming in, walking their dog, stopping by for a quick beer in the middle of the afternoon. We also allow dogs in the building, so if you do want to bring your dog by, they can chill by the bar. But late night, we're getting bartenders getting off work. I think a lot of people in the neighborhood are starting to notice the happy hour, so that's been really good. And then, we've gotten a couple tourists here and there, a couple adventurous tourists that have found us already, so that's cool. And it seems like, and we're hoping that word just gets around. But, the neighborhood is what we're excited about. That's going to be our bread and butter, so it's good to see people coming in.
Well, guys, man, congratulations. The place is great. I love it, man. Congrats, and thanks for taking some time to tell me about it.
Well, thank you for coming down and hanging out with us. Are you kidding me? The more the merrier. We have space for everyone who is thirsty or hungry or needs to win some money or play some darts. That's exactly what we're here for.
The news is next. This is Food and Loathing. So, of course, you're hungry after a hard day of work or a hard night of play. This is Vegas, after all. So where do you go? What do you want? What's left in your wallet? What's left in your credit? The answer is 2 words: Neon Feast. It's the app that will get you to the best place no matter what. The mood you're in, the budget you have, the cuisine you want to eat, the hotel, the neighborhood, the town you're in, or the one you want to go to. It's all there on the Neon Feast app. Download it. Tell it your every desire. Your every food desire. And then get satisfied. And again, we're talking about food. It's the Neon Feast app. Or online at neonfeast.com.
It is time for the news, but before we get into that, Rob, man, I want to talk about what you've been talking about recently over at your Hey Vegas newsletter and also at Las Vegas CityCast, and really tell people what you are up to over at CityCast and how they can get that news.
So what CityCast is a daily podcast, CityCast Las Vegas, and then there's also a daily newsletter. I'm the editor of the newsletter, so I'm kind of managing that as well as most of the stories that are on the website. And I've been a part of that since February. And it's just a blast. And what I love about the newsletter is it's kind of like the modern day version of your daily paper. You know how the daily paper used to show up in your driveway? Maybe it still does. Mm-hmm. But now you get a newsletter that shows up in your inbox every morning around 6 a.m. And it's just like a little bit of news. There's a little bit of featurey stuff. But we're really trying to be in touch with locals, talk about things that matter to people who love Las Vegas. Not just love to visit it, but that's fine too. But just touch on a few different things. We do food and beverage stories every Thursday, give or take. We cover, history. We cover news blurbs of the day. Just interesting stuff that's going on, and also giving some attention to good causes around town or local businesses and that kind of thing too. But also giving it a voice and making it readable, so it's
cool.
It breezes by when you check it out.
How can people sign up to get that newsletter in their inbox?
So if you want to go to the website, it is lasvegas.citycast.fm. Just Google CityCast Las Vegas, and you'll find it. But we're part of a company called Graham Holdings. They used to own the Washington Post. Slate is part of that family as well, and a million other businesses. Not a million, but a lot. I mean, this company's doing great. Mm-hmm. But CityCast is now in, I believe, 13 cities total. We're probably going to add a couple more next year, or 2025. I'm not sure when this is running, but it's just like a great employee-friendly company to work for that really does care about local news.
I find it a good compliment to John Ralston's Nevada Independent. That's like the A section of the paper, and you guys are the B section of the paper.
Yeah, and we love local journalism. It's not like we're just trying to stand out on our own. We've invited people like John Ralston on the podcast to talk about things, especially during election season. So we kind of find there's a certain synergy with, other people that we're linking to when they're doing their coverage. We have local television news reporters as guests on the podcast. And a big shout out to David Figler and Sarah Lohman, because they just nail podcast hosting duties. They're really in touch with this town. And
way
better
really
than
me. Way better than me.
I think they've had you on
before. They have had me on. They've had Gemini on a few more times.
Gemini's a favorite. So we're a part of a big family here in Vegas.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that, man. Okay, now news, quickly. I had a chance to judge another cocktail competition this week. This is how I do my late night socializing. I volunteer to judge cocktail competitions. It was at the Peppermint Hippo.
Yay.
Right now, in the old
Known for their drinks.
Yes, right. In the old Olympic Gardens days, Sue and I lived at that place, man. It was our home away from home, so I love being back there. The contestants were bartenders from Siempre JB, Legacy Club, Bourbon Steak, Super Frico, Taverna Costera, Viva by Ray Garcia, May Dailies, and more. We were in the back room there. It was hosted by Gene Samuel, who's a great guy. He's been around this town for a long time. He used to be a manager over at the old Olympic Gardens, so he had a lot of great crude stripper jokes to make. I was there with Vegas Pauly D, Pauly C, yeah. He was down the other end he was judging as well, and then three strippers between us judging as well, which made me happy.
That's the best way to enjoy a drink, I think.
It is. So the winner for the entire thing, Jeff Bauman of Glitter Gulch Tiki on 4th Street between Fremont and Ogden. And here's me talking to him about the win.
It's always good to win, amongst your colleagues in the craft. It's nice to get out there and see that the creativity of everybody else and, make new friends. And this one was special, working with very different spirits that I normally don't get to work with.
And were the strippers distracting?
Yes, definitely.
And Rerun Mandalay Place is now offering something called the Perfect Pint Experience as part of their catering and banquet menu. I mean, come on, if you're throwing a party at the Valley's Best Irish Pub, it seems appropriate that all of your guests learn how to pour a proper Guinness. And as Wally Lang explains, man, that is exactly what they're offering.
We offer a Perfect Pint Experience. It can be included in a banquet package here at Rerun Irish Pub. We teach each individual member of the party the 6 steps to pouring the perfect pint of Guinness. Each member gets to pour their own pint of Guinness, and they get to enjoy that Guinness.
And last one from me. We told you a few weeks ago that Casa Playa at Wynn is extending its hours to offer late-night dining on Fridays and Saturdays. Well, I finally got in there to talk about it with their GM, Alexander Ortega, and here's what he told me about the late nights at Casa Playa.
Friday and Saturday, we've extended service. From 10:30 until close, we offer a late-night seating in which we hope to deliver an experience for our guests that, fills a void that I think is needed, not just on property, but all over town. We have an elevated coastal Mexican cuisine that we offer for dinner, and then we stretch that and offer the same, elevated, kind of niche options for a late night food portion. Beverage package is similar to what we run on dinner, but the beauty of our late night programming is I think, you're going to experience Wynn style of food and service after hours, which is perfect.
Now, the fact that Casa Playa is so close to the pool here, right, it begs the question, is this meant to be a pre-club or a post-club event?
Yeah, you're on it. To me, it's a pre-club event. I think for my restaurant, what I'm trying to hit is that hour to 2 hours before the guest goes to the nightclub. We partner with our nightlife team here on property, and my goal is that every nightlife guest has the opportunity and does at least step foot into Casa Playa on their journey at the Wynn. So for late night, whether that's coming in and having a couple cocktails and chips and guacamole or having a full taco platter and a pitcher of margaritas, I just hope every nightlife guest touches Casa Playa in some form.
Talk to me a bit about the menu. What's available during the late night hours?
Yeah, so, candidly, we wanted to make a menu that's desirable for the guest who has one cocktail and the guest that has 5 cocktails, right? So I think we highlight our taco platter, which is fantastic. And then we have a lovely, large format items as well that we can offer. Otherwise, chips and guac has really driven this restaurant. Our house-made guacamole, our house-made salsa that we run every day is our number one seller for dinner service, and we stretch it to the late night seating. And our beverage program really drives the service, in my opinion. We have a separate niche, 100% additive-free tequila section that we feature at night. Just to kind of, branch out a little bit. Additive-free tequila is kind of hot right now. So, I've partnered with, beverage distributors to bring in the high-end, maybe hard-to-reach additive-free tequilas to our menu.
Cool. So what's the atmosphere like in Casa Playa? Obviously, if you're reaching out to that club crowd, I would think it might be a bit more lively than it is during normal dinner hours.
Sure. So, we want to create an atmosphere for dinner and late night. My goal is to focus our late night service in our lower bar area. We drop the lights. There's a DJ that's fixed in that area as well. We hit the gas on the music a little bit once late night comes into play. But we want to set the scene. When a guest walks into our lower dining area, we want them to have that picturesque scene of, oh, wow, this is a place where I want to sit down and have a cocktail and, spend my after dinner hours here, maybe before they go to the club. But it's a lively atmosphere. Lights are a little low. Music's a little loud. Casa Playa is the most beautiful room on property. And, it shines when even the lights are low.
You talked about cocktails. Obviously, Marina Mercer-Borini is at your disposal here, being at Wynn. She does, in my opinion, some of the finest cocktails in all of Las Vegas. Are there a couple that are distinct to Casa Playa that people should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, 100%. Something as simple as a delicious margarita is not so simple. You could go get a watered down, over-poured, ice-melted margarita at lots of other venues, but ours is going to be perfect here. I would say, aside from our Margarita de la Casa, which is our signature house margarita, our Obsidian is our number one margarita here on property, and that should be the first cocktail that any guest gets when they walk through the door. It's our take on a spiced cucumber margarita. So you're going to get the benefits of healing with the cucumber and then, the kick of the tequila. So Obsidian's a fantastic cocktail.
Okay, so you probably don't want to answer this question, but you always say 10:30 till closing. Yeah. What's a reasonable time? How late can I walk in here and still expect to be served?
Yeah, so reasonable, I think 12 to 12:30 is our landing hour. But close to me as an operator means when that vibe has gone away, when our guests are starting to let out, then we deem it to be closed. One thing we'll never do at Casa Playa is we'll never close a noisy bar. That's terminology that's been around for some time. But if the bar is noisy, we're not going to close, right? We want to make sure that we're an outlet where guests can walk in. And again, if it's a cocktail to sit down and enjoy at the bar, or I like a nightcap, go grab one in a to-go cup. Come in, grab an Obsidian and to-go cup, and head up to your room. I'm happy to pour that as well. But realistically, what I'm looking for is 10:30 to midnight.
Southern California's Jelena is bringing its locally sourced produce-forward menu to the Venetian, opening December 26th on the resort's restaurant row. It'll be the third restaurant for this company, which describes the menu as featuring seasonal, produce-driven dishes built alongside a strong foundation of family. Expect wood-fired pizzas, vegetable-forward dishes, fresh seafood, comforting entrees like grilled kabocha square, wood-roasted beets, lamb burger, or a chetta with beef cheek bolognese.
Or
I'll go for
kete,
that.
but, you know.
Or a kete. Yeah,
I had to get you on that one,
I hear I'm live to be gotten.
The funny-looking pasta.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Michael Mina's Bourbon Steak is now open in the Four Seasons Hotel, located within the Mandalay Bay building. This means Mina now has 2 steakhouses in the very same building, with stripped steak upstairs in Mandalay Bay. Al will sit down with Mina immediately after we wrap this episode, so you'll hear all about that. Another Michael Mina sighting next week on Food and Loathing.
All right, how about this? New York chef and restaurateur Angie Marr of the Beatrice and La Bee will bring her annual Lunar New Year party to Wynn Las Vegas on February 2nd. It will be held at Delilah, a great spot, and feature dim sum served butler style, Peking duck, live-action chef stations, cocktails, DJs, a lion dance, and performances from Delilah's musical roster. Tickets are $500 a pop. That kind of sounds like a lot, but that includes tax and tip. Just make your reservation through 7 rooms.
And that's about it for this week. Thanks to our hosts, Albert Scalleat and Lisa Burney of Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria, for letting us record here and for telling us about what's new.
And thanks for the pizza.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for the pizza.
Very good.
Thanks to all our other guests, Sam Pulliam, Adam O'Donnell, Jeff Bauman, Lee Torres, and Wally Lang. Thanks to Jason Aldean for the audio his people sent over. And, of course, thanks to Rob for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for the invitation.
I'm Al Mancini with Rich Johnson and Rob Kachelriess on behalf of the traveling Samantha Gemini Stevens, wishing you a happy holiday. Eat those cookies, people, but always stay hungry.